Almost 50 years before the mechanical recording of the human voice, the English journalist Henry Mayhew began to compile a natural history of London's labouring poor. He roamed the streets of mid-19th century London, armed with nothing more than patience, shorthand, and what seems to have been a remarkable ear for the peculiarities of idiomatic English. He recorded the witness of several thousand men and women who plied their meagre and uncertain trades in the Victorian metropolis. Mayhew hoped to extract some large-scale scientific generalization from the inquiry, but in the event he was overwhelmed by the sheer quantity and richness of his material, so that by his own standards the enterprise was a failure. But Mayhew's failure turns out to have been our good fortune, because of the unprecedented archive of personal experience which he bequeathed. Without the benefit of a tape recorder, we can virtually hear the anonymous inhabitants of a world that we have now lost. The good humour and fortitude of many of the people in Mayhew's pages is continually surprising in view of what we know they suffered. But there were occasionally characters who presented Mayhew with a rigmarole of pure misery. One of these, by an ironic twist, was a street clown, and he's a reminder at the end of this brief survey of Mayhew's Londoners of how wretched life could seem in the London of the 1850s.
My necessities forced me into a public line, which I'm far from liking. I pull trucks at 1 shilling a day rather than get 12 shillings a week at my business. I've tried to get out of the line. I've got a friend to advertise for me for any situation as groom. I've tried to get into the police. I've tried other things, but somehow there seems an impossibility to get quit of the street business. Many times I have to play the clown and indulge in all kinds of buffoonery with a terrible heavy heart. I have 3 children, one now only 8 weeks old. You can't imagine, sir, what a curse the street business can become with its insults and starvations. The day before my wife was confined, I jumped and laboured doing Jim Crow for 12 hours, in the wet too, and earned 1 shilling and 3pence. With this, I returned to home without a bit of coal and with only half a quartern loaf in it. I know it was 1 shilling and 3pence, for I keep a sort of log of all my earnings and my expenses. You'll see on it what I've earned as clown or the funny man with a party of acrobats since the beginning of this year.
He showed Mayhew his log, as he called it, which was kept in small figures on paper folded up as economically as possible. Not quite 6 shillings remained as the average weekly sum to be taken home to his wife and family.
I dare say no persons think more of their dignity than such as are in my way of life. I'd rather starve than ask for parochial relief. Many a time I've gone to my labour without breaking my fast, and played clown until I could raise dinner. I have to make jokes as clown. Could fill a volume with all I knows.
He told me several of his jests, Mayhew writes. They were all of the most venerable kind.
A horse has 10 legs. He's 2 forelegs and 2 hind legs. 2 fours are 8 and 2 others are 10.
Mayhew reports that the other jokes were equally puerile.
Why is the city of Rome?
He would have it Rome.
Why is the city of Rome like a candle wick? Because it's in the midst of Greece. Here's another one. Old and young are both of one age. Your son at 20 is young, and your horse at 20 is old. So old and young are the same. Da-da.
Mayhew asked him if his neighbours knew his business.
In the street where I lodge, only very few know what I do for a living. I and my wife both strive to keep the business a secret from our neighbours. My wife does a little washing when able and often works 8 hours for 6pence. I go out at 8 in the morning and return at dark. My children hardly know what I do. I see my dresses lying about, but that is all. My oldest is a girl of 13. She has seen me dressed at Stepney Fair, where she brought me my tea. She laughs when she sees me in my clown's dress. Wants to stay with me. but I'd rather see her lay dead before me. And I had 2 dead in my place at one time. Last Whitsun Monday was a 12-month. And she should ever belong to my profession.
Mayhew reports that tears started from the man's eyes as he said this.
Frequently when I play the fool in the streets, I feel very sad at heart. I can't help thinking of the bare cupboards at home. But what's that to the world? I've often and often been at home all day when it has been wet, with no food at all, either to give my children or to take myself. And I've gone out at night to the public houses to sing a comic song, or play the funny man for a meal. You may imagine with what feelings for the part. And when I've come home, I've called my children up from their beds to share the loaf I brought back with me. I know 3 or more clowns as miserable and bad off as myself. The way in which our profession is ruined is by the stragglers or outsiders, who are often men who are good tradesmen. They take to the clown's business only at holiday or fair time, when there's little money to be picked up at it. Then after that, they go back to their own trades, so that you see, we, who are obliged to continue at it the year through, are deprived of even the little bit of luck we should otherwise have.
Timewatch returns to BBC Two in 2 weeks. Next tonight, it's The Money Programme.